Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Jeremy from Randolph Running Club, and I'm here today after about 50 miles in the Asics Hyper Speed to give you guys my full thoughts on this shoe right after this. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for making it through that intro. I really appreciate you guys. If this is your first time watching a video on my channel, feel free to hit that like button, that subscribe button. It really means a lot to me and just lets me know that I'm kind of going on the right track and making that content that you guys want to continue to see. And feel free to just engage with me on the comments. I'd love to have a chat down below and talk to you guys. And of course, if this is a return visit, return view on the channel, I really appreciate you guys so much. Salute. And I'm going to keep working hard and just keep on putting out these videos for you guys. But as you saw there in that intro, that was a compilation of different runs that I've taken in the Asics Hyper Speed since I got these shoes sometime in January, I think. Maybe the end of January. I don't know. It's been a little second now, but we're in March. And, you know, I've put these shoes through all kinds of different paces. I've taken them on my 10K PR. I ran my first full marathon in these shoes, and I've done everything in between as well. So, you know, without further ado, you know, let's get into it. And I do want to start this off by saying, you know, if you guys have ever seen a video on my channel where I review some shoes, you know that I like to talk about a couple key things. The first of those being the comfort. I like to talk about the versatility of the shoe, you know, what kind of paces and different events or whatever, you know, kind of speed work you might be trying to throw at it. What kind of things is it good for, and can it kind of hopscotch between those different things? Number three, I talk about the durability. How do I think the shoe has held up so far with my use, and how do I predict it to last? And last but not least, we always talk about the value. We talk about the price, because that means a lot, you know, to everyone, and it means a lot to me. If it doesn't mean a lot to you, hey, I hope to be like you one day. But point of the story, yeah, we're going to hit those 4 topics. And without further ado, let's just jump into it, a little bit of the technical specs, and just really kind of get into what makes this shoe what it is. So this Asics Hyper Speed shoe is a traditional road running racing flat shoe. So, you know, in recent years, we've seen a lot of different shoes come out from Nike and just different brands that have these carbon plates. This is kind of taking us back to the good old days, if you will, where a shoe was just lightweight, EVA, simple foam, and it was fast. Then, you know, maybe not the most durable, but it was a shoe to just pick up the pace in. So, you know, this traditional racing flat, 7.4 ounces in a US men's size 9. We have a 21 millimeter heel stack height, 16 millimeters in the forefoot, and that makes for a 5 millimeter drop from the highest point of the heel to the lowest point in the forefoot. The upper is a pretty traditional mesh upper, very breathable. And we also have EVA midsole foam and solid rubber on the outside for protection in high wear areas. So those are your technical specs for the shoe. And now we're going to get into item number 1. We're going to talk about the comfort. So, you know, when I first saw these shoes, I was very, very intrigued. I'm not a person who's going to say I will never throw shade at somebody for wearing, you know, Nike Vaporfly, Next Percents, or Alpha Flies, or they were in the Hyperion Elites or whatever, you know, Asics Meta Racers, those types of shoes with carbon plates for their race days. Like, I'll never throw shade at anyone for that. But me personally, I cannot get down with spending $250 on a pair of shoes, $200 on a pair of shoes, especially knowing that a lot of those shoes tend to wear down very quickly. You know, they're really good for only a couple of marathons before you start to kind of lose that full benefit of that really soft bouncy foam and, you know, the protection that you're expecting to get with the speed that those shoes are capable of. So I was very intrigued by this, and on the Asics website, running warehouse, just the various retailers that I kind of perused while, you know, thinking about this shoe, they listed it as having a soft ride to help you go any distance. Now, I thought that was very intriguing because the first time I put these shoes on, the last thing that I would use to describe the ride is soft. They feel, you know, pretty firm, all things considered. You know, it feels like a shoe that's intended to go fast. And I think I fully understand that now even more. You know, I've got about 52 miles in my pair, and I'll say they're very comfortable when you're at, you know, those faster paces and everything, but this is not a shoe for you when you're on really tired legs or anything. Yeah, I think that's just it. I wouldn't use the word soft in the description. It's really kind of like a medium shoe. They're not really, I've had firmer shoes, but I've definitely had softer shoes. I'll say that. The EVA foam doesn't really lack, or doesn't really have that like kind of pop either. I would say it's just a foam. It's not going to hold you back, but it's not going to you know, provide you any kind of like trampoline effect or something that you might be accustomed to coming from maybe a more expensive shoe either. So I guess what I'm trying to say is these shoes just don't have like that plush kind of bouncy feel that you might feel from like Flight Foam, for instance, from Asics. But with that being said, they are still comfortable, and for a racing flat shoe, I think that these more than get the job done from a comfort perspective. I will say that the upper feels pretty good. It is a little bit rigid, I would say. It's definitely broken in for me over time. I think my first couple runs, I felt like there was a little bit of, it just kind of felt like your shirt when you put like starch in it or something after the wash. Like it just felt a little bit tough, but it's kind of molded to my foot, excuse me there. And the shoe is just starting to kind of come into its own from a comfort perspective of the upper. You know, I ran a full marathon in these shoes, and I wasn't setting the world on fire with the times. It was over 5 hours, but at the same time, you know, my feet weren't really crying out to me at the end. I mean, I definitely had a couple blisters, but I think that was just from me being out on that distance for such a long time and not having experienced that distance before. But I don't think the shoes contributed to that. And you know, lastly, I think I do want to make a little call out to the laces on these shoes. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like these laces a little bit, they went a little bit cheap on them. You know, you don't necessarily, like the tongue is there's no padding on the tongue basically. It is just like a piece of mesh. I can see through it right now and look at the camera. And the laces, you know, you kind of feel them there on the top of your foot. And you're just not going to get that like really soft, cushy feel from the tongue. And that's fine because these shoes are super light. I mean, they're 7.4 ounces. But at the same time, I feel like they went a little cheap on the laces, and they're starting to fray a little bit on me as well, in addition to the fact that I can feel them on the top of my foot as I'm running there. But I feel like it sounds like I'm hating on these. To be honest with you, the comfort is absolutely fine, and especially for a shoe that is tended to go fast. I think that this makes a lot of sense. They're not advertising this as a daily trainer. They're not advertising it as a long run shoe. It is a shoe for when you are trying to put that work in. So with that in mind, let's go to part 2 of this review. Let's talk about the versatility. So when I talk about versatility, you know, a daily trainer is a shoe that I would say is usually pretty versatile, right? It's something that's, you know, structured enough, has enough cushion that you can go and take it on a long run potentially, but you can also log the majority of your miles on that shoe. You can do a fartlek with it. You can do interval runs if you really had to. You know, it's just a shoe that for pretty much any occasion it'll be all right. And I think for these particular shoes, I think as far as racing flat, they perform exactly as advertised. Like I said before, this is a shoe. It's not going to hold you back from running, you know, your personal best times. I personally had my best 10K I've ever run in these shoes, and I think, you know, anything, if I left anything on the table that day, was my own doing. Maybe I didn't pick the best route. Maybe I wasn't at the best fitness I could be, but these shoes did not slow me down a single bit on my way to that PR. For the marathon, I felt the same way. These shoes, anything that happened to me that day was my own doing, maybe nutrition or something, but it wasn't because of the shoes. So as a racing shoe, I think that these are phenomenal. They did a great job, especially, I keep hinting at it, but especially for the price that they are. I'd say they feel all right going slow. But I've taken these out on a couple of like interval runs, for instance, where I'm doing like maybe half marathon or even 10K pace, threshold paces. And, you know, they just feel a little bit more clunky to me when I'm going at that like kind of recovery pace, waiting for that next interval. So I would say keep that in mind. You know, you can go slow in these shoes, but they just don't feel quite as at home. You just kind of feel like you're getting that like kind of, I don't know, kind of flat-footed feeling. It's really hard to explain. I would say if you can, try these on in the store for sure, but if you're planning on running slow in them. But my main takeaway is, you know, they're for speed sessions. Take these to the track, take these on a faster day, take these when your legs feel fresh and you're trying to get, you know, maximize your potential as far as speed is concerned. Now, let's also move on to the durability. So part 3 of this review, right? You know, I think so far this shoe has really shined. I mentioned that the laces were kind of giving me a little bit of a hard time there, and it's kind of showing a little bit of fraying. But to be honest with you, I think they just look a little dingy now. But I think the laces will be just fine. They're not like tearing or anything. It's just a little fuzziness that I'm seeing. But you know, looking at the upper of this shoe, it looks basically crisp. Like when I took it out the box. I'm looking down here. There's like a little bit of wrinkling of the EVA, but it feels fine to me. It's actually gotten a little bit softer over time as I've broken the shoe in, so I have no complaints. And just look at that outsole. So let me see if that's in focus for you. I mean, there's no wear on this. They put rubber in all the high wear places, and I'm just not seeing it. Pretty much every shoe that I ever run in gets a little wear, like right here, kind of in that forefoot area where I'm like striking. And these look crispy. That's the best way I can describe them. They look crispy, like I just took them out the box. So I'm rocking with Asics on the durability of these. You know, I have, like I said, 52 miles in them, and they still feel pretty good to me. I think that I could definitely take these shoes. I think right now on Strava I have them like going to 250 or something like that. I see no reason why these couldn't get to 250, 300. This foam was relatively firm from the beginning, so I think as long as the outsole doesn't kind of like break down or anything, I think that foam is still going to feel good, you know, probably in 400 miles. So durability on these shoes very high, no less than 300 miles for sure. And then yeah, last but not least, let's talk about the price. So the value of these shoes, Asics, y'all are helping the pockets right now, because you know, these $90, I think that's easy money for a brand new shoe, especially with this type of performance. You know, if you bought a pair of these and maybe you get like a pair of gel Cumulus 22s on sale or something, because I know the 23 is about to come out if it hasn't already. You know, you get those two shoes if you're trying to stay in the Asics like universe. Those two shoes together, I think you have a daily trainer, you have something that you can do up-tempo training in and racing in, and you just spent, you know, probably 150, maybe like, you know, 175 or something. And now you get to laugh at all the people who buy, you know, Vaporfly Next Percents and they're running the same times as you and they spent 250. So yeah, I think the value of these is really good. You know, yes, you kind of get what you pay for. Yes, I think if you bought a carbon fiber plated shoe or whatever for your long runs and your speed sessions and stuff, maybe you might get a little bit more performance, a little bit more comfort. But I think, you know, just for what these are advertised for and what the point of them is, I think you can't beat $90. And, you know, Asics will ship them to you for free. Depending on where you live, you might not have tax or whatever. So, yeah, I think this is really good. And you know, mess around and catch these on sale and it's over, especially. But even at that starting price, $90, I think that's perfect. So overall, I think this is a really good shoe. I think as long as you know what you're getting into and you're using it for its intended purpose of being kind of like a race ready shoe or a fast speed day shoe, I think you're going to get the most out of it. Durability is high, value is high. The comfort is there for its intended purpose. Let's not forget that. Not super versatile, but the comfort is there for its intended purpose. So I would totally buy these again. I'm going to keep on wearing them, and you know, maybe I'll do, if you guys really want to see, maybe comment down below. Maybe I'll do a really high mileage update when I get these up to like 300 miles or something, and let you know how they've kind of held on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably going to take these out on a long run tomorrow that I'm planning to do a little bit of speed work in there for maybe, you know, 30, 45 minutes of it. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you know, following and helping the channel grow. Feel free to drop a comment down below and chat with me about the Asics Hyper Speed. And as always, stay blessed, inspire others, and stay safe out there, y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.